Hello. We are now getting hungry. What he's cooking is fried beans by a traditional recipe from Ivailograd region. The white small beans are first boiled, then they are put in a shallow pan to be fried together with sweet pepper, onion, carrot, and some celery. What you're seeing is preparing street food with Smilyan beans, a variety of tacos. Lady's name is Snezhana Orlova. She comes from Smolyan town. She's professional cook and she's interested in traditional recipes, but also in presenting traditional food in a contemporary way, so they can get the interest of the young and audience. Yeah, no. That's the Tarhana. Providing catering services for parties, events. These are the traditional cows, mostly black with white lilac back, and let me see this one, which is dark brown with beige back, and the large white beans.
And actually, we have the same flowers in Latvia, so
People here in the area usually would plant the seeds of the beans early, late April, like 1 week before 6th of May. It's important to not to miss watering when is needed, because and you do it frequently, but shallow watering, but you do not have to miss it because the plant will go dry and die. Another peculiarity is that if temperatures in blooming period go above 28-30, it doesn't fertilize, the bloom just falls off.
That is why normally the fields with beans are close to water for irrigation, but also for the air humidity.
When time comes for harvesting the crop, you have that blade to cut the vegetation and leave the poles to accelerate the maturing, the drying of the shells. The shells are dry, you start taking out the wooden poles from the plantation, then you spread it to additionally dry out, that the processing with the beating. When you separate finally the beans from the plant particles, some people would spread it on a cloth in the sun for 1 or 2 days to aerate and to dry, and then you put it in linen or paper bags for storage in a cool place, dark and cool place.
To preserve the beans, they freeze it at -20 for a week or two, and so that to kill the animals.
some Tarhana, we call it in Bulgaria Tarhana, and we can substitute the flour or even make it for just for taste. It's not necessary to substitute, but it's because it's thickening. It has thickening effect. So this is fried beans. We usually cook it. For example, if you cook beans in a soup where it's very liquidy, and on the next day you don't feel like eating again the same dish, you can cook this using some flour or the Tarhana, as I explained, and you fry it using these ingredients, and it becomes like a whole new dish where it's very thickened and it's like a meal. You can use it for a main dish, not only for a soup, for starters, for example. And it's a very fulfilling meal. You don't need to eat anything else after that because beans has a lot of protein and a lot of fats in it. And if you like meat, you can also add meat inside. But it's called bobovolutika in Bulgarian. Also very, very traditional. I remember eating this when I was small, and to this day I can never make it taste the same like my grandmother did. Well, no matter what I do, it's just not the same.
Okay, is everybody here? Okay, welcome to the Beans Museum, which is kind of exaggeration. It's actually a permanent exposition of beans applied work. As you see here, we have works that have been awarded of the annual contest since 2005. Practically, kids' imagination doesn't have no limit. scenes and depictions of how beans are processed. You see the garden, and then how you take out the bean of the shell. You have buildings in the village here, and modern transportation means of beans. We found out that tourists are not only interested in listening, watching, so we decided to invent an activity for them to participate. So that was our idea, and we assigned to an artist to make a design that would allow us to tell the story of the area by this peak. Each half being, they cut like this for convenience of gluing, split by two, is placed by a different person. So these, especially the big ones, the larger ones, they have different time of brewing, like 1 week in sequence. What local people do, they would never put only a single type, but they would mix it. And that's their, insurance that if temperatures are too high or there is, ice rain, some ice rain, and it kills the bloom of one of the blooming. A week later, the others would fertilize the soil, and so that's how they would ensure minimum crop from the planting.
Clean white bean, very typical. Most of houses in Bulgaria, they use white beans. Especially in Sofia, where we live, it's maybe the most popular type of bean that it's used to eat.
You use dried mint for this?
Yes, we put it inside while cooking. And there is also fresh one you can use to put on top instead of parsley, for example. But it's very traditional for Bulgarian women when they cook beans to use this dried spice.